Yo guys, what's going on and welcome back to the channel. I do apologize for this video being a little bit delayed. I was trying to have this put out the end of November, early December, but I dropped the ball. But hey, we're here and we're ready to talk Austin FC off season. So kind of what I want to address in this video are transfers both in and out, specifically one player, which we'll get to later. And then also a little bit of my original thoughts on the 2023 postseason and the 2023 season as a whole. Some things I wrote a script out for this that was prior to the offseason starting. Like I said, I wanted to get this out before kind of the first week of December was over. But we all have some stuff at the end of November, December. So I apologize for that. Let's get into it and let's see what I can anger you guys with this time with Austin FC thoughts, as I normally do as Mr. Hot Take. But yeah, let's jump right into it. In this first season, I don't think that I can anger really anybody. It is just who's in and who's out. We got some players that are staying and a lot of players that are leaving. In my opinion, most of them are good exits. However, we'll start on the end. Alex Ring. His contract was auto-picked up, as you guys probably know, due to milestones that were hit in his time with Austin FC. Fair enough. I think Alex Ring, if we bring him down that DP status, good, keep him. He's really helpful. Damian Loss, I think, should at least challenge Brad Suver for the starting goalkeeper spot. I don't think it's going to be detrimental at all to have a challenge for a spot like that. It's going to elevate both parties up to where they should be. I will be sad to see Damian Loss leave the MLS Next Pro team, but if Stu is able to kind of challenge that spot, maybe he stays with Austin FC too. Who knows? It won't hurt. It'll elevate both of them if they challenge for the spot. Musa Jite, still out on loan. I'm not going to try and pronounce the club name. There it is. He will be there through the summer of 2024 unless things drastically change, which they might, as Justice Artist is the only striker that is still on the roster for the Verde and Black. Talking about loans, Johan Romagna is returning from his loan. I think he should be sold immediately. I don't think he's going to fit the type of center back that we need, nor will he fit locker room wise with that spat with Josh Wolf before last season and just before effectively every season he has. Somebody that I don't necessarily understand bringing back is Hector Jimenez. He only played roughly 45 minutes in the MLS last season, in addition to, I believe he played both games against Violette. I might be wrong on that. I know he played away horribly. The whole team just played terribly that game, but oh well, it is what it is. We live with it. I think it's an odd decision to bring him back player-wise. I think he should have been somebody brought back in the coaching aspect of things. So I think he knows what he wants to do. I think the issue is doing the things that he knows what to do. Danny Pereira technically is still on contract until December 2024 due to an extension being picked up there. Will he stay through that whole time? Maybe, maybe not. We'll get into kind of more details on that in the next little section. One pickup that Austin FC has had since writing the script is Hader O'Brien. Sorry, I butcher his name every time. He was formerly with FC Dallas this past 2 years. Colombian guy, kind of younger than the target, or at least what people thought was going to be the 30-plus benchmarker. A little bit under that. He was picked in the MLS re-entry draft due to a trade, and then a trade, and then the trade of a trade, and blah, 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 blah. All that kind of stuff. So that's kind of everybody that Austin FC has brought in and or renewed contract-wise who's out. We're just going to run through these because I think we anticipated a lot of these during the season. Will Bruin, Charlie Asensio, Maxi, Adam Lundqvist, Rodney Redis, Sofian Jafal, Alfonso Ocampo Chavez. Memo Rodriguez, unfortunately, looks to be just a book balancing pawn due to the Diego trade, trying to balance books for the Galaxy. Unfortunately, he had no plans to use him in the long term. Brandon Craig returns to Philadelphia after his loan, didn't really get any minutes. And then two trades out of Austin, Nick Lima going to New England for up to $300,000 in GAM, $275,000 guaranteed, and $25,000 if certain conditions are met. The other trade is Kip Keller, who was sent to FC Cincinnati for a third-round super draft pick, which that pick was then traded, I believe, to Toronto for the re-entry draft pick. I think that kind of covers everybody who's in and out very quickly. All right, like I said, the Danny Pereira situation is a little bit iffy and a little bit strange. His contract was picked up with Austin, and that contract is through the end of December, or I guess the end of next season in December 2024. However, there's been no agreement on a long-term or bigger contract that would null that effectively. They've been in talks. Nothing was agreed on. Unfortunately, I think Danny's being underpaid, and I think a lot of you guys would agree with that. But it looks like Danny Pereira will be leaving Austin now, or in the summer of 2024. I do not think we should let him leave, and I do not think it would be smart business-wise to let him walk on a free at the end of next calendar year or next, league year, whatever it is. According to the sources, there are 5 teams that are interested in a Danny Pereira trade. They are LAFC. Damn, that would be crushing. Miami, Columbus, New York City FC, and Charlotte FC are the last team that is interested in a Danny trade. It looks like only LAFC have agreed to / met Austin's demands or willing to meet Austin's demands for Danny. Does this mean that Danny Pereira is officially going to LAFC? No, I don't think so. I think there's still hope for Danny to stay in Austin if Burrell and the front office agree to give him a bump in salary that he deserves. However, I think as of where we stand right now, there are 2 paths that we could take. Path A, which I think is the smarter path, is you give Danny the contract that he wants, or at least a significantly improved contract, and build the long-term future around Danny Pereira. He's the youngest player on the team that has the ability to have a team built around them, right? He's the youngest and strongest player to build the future of Austin FC, not just the next year or 2. We all hear about the Matthew McConaughey 100-year war. I think that starts with building a team around Danny Pereira. But option 2, which unfortunately I think this is the option that we're going to go down, is selling Danny Pereira to the highest bidder, which as of right now looks like LAFC. Again, no confirmation on that, but I think that's what's going to happen. Is going to be sold to the highest bidder. We're going to use that money to build a strong team that we can then slot in other holes or fill other holes with the money that was used, the extra money that's used from the Danny sale. I think the worst possible option would be letting Danny Pereira walk on a free next December. I think that would be crushing. First of all, emotionally crushing for everybody, just letting him leave and not getting anything in return for him, but also for the club of not getting a return for a player of that type of value. So this next section is kind of where the script was written a while ago, and these have been my kind of thoughts that I've hinted at on the Twitter spaces, on Twitter, and Twitter replies, and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of where my head has been at since effectively Leagues Cup through now. I think this is kind of where I'm going to anger. I say anger, I mean, we're going to have disagreements on. I personally, I'm going to state this out and we're going to go from there. I do not think 2023 was as bad of a year and is a start of a rebuild. I don't think it should have been a start of a rebuild, and I don't think it was as bad as people say it was. So, I have some stats to back me up. You can disagree with me if you don't think the stats are completely telling of the season, which a lot of times they aren't, but how I'm interpreting them, I don't think it was that bad. So, starting off looking at the stats from 2022 and 2023, Austin FC scored 1.9 goals per game with a 57.7 XG in 2022. In 2023, we scored 1.4 goals per game. Wish we could score more than 1 game per goal, whatever. And then had a 43.5 XG in that time in 2023. However, on the defensive side, we conceded 1.5 goals per game in 2022, and in 2023, we conceded 1.6. So we scored half a goal per game less. We had a almost 14.5 XG loss between 2022 and 2023, and we conceded about 0.1 goals more in 2023 than 2022. Just looking at, if you want to know what that kind of translates to, in 2022, we had 65 goals for and 49 goals against, and in 2023, we had 49 goals for and 55 goals against. So those numbers kind of end up with a conceding 6 more goals, yet scoring about 16 goals less. So it was a 10-goal difference across the board kind of switch, which I think is reasonable and understandable with the mess, we'll say, to keep it YouTube friendly, with the mess that our back line was. Because if you look at who played center back in this past year, we have Leo, we have Julio Cascante, we have Matt Hedges, who are kind of where we end up right now. In that, we also had Alex Ring play there, not a center back. We had Nick Lima play there. We had Hector Minas slot in there. Again, fullbacks playing center back are never a good option. In that, we also had Brandon Craig available, who never got minutes. We had Alexander Radovanovic, who for some reason did not really get a whole lot significant minutes while he was here on trade or on a loan, but instead played Alex Ring there. And then, of course, we have the fateful Amor Tarek, who, yeah, we don't want to really remember that one at all. So how many is that? 8 or so players fill in that center back role. And then again, on the left, Zan Kolmanach went out injured early in the season. So we had Galley on that side, again, bringing him back from a winger position. We also had Adam Lundqvist, who, in my opinion, played way too far up the field and left our defensive line in shambles and on islands. Ended up partway through the season switching to a 3-back and playing fullbacks up the field, which I don't think worked out a whole lot. That was Adam Lundqvist and John Gallagher up the field with Nick Lima as that center back. I don't think we had speed on that back line, and I think that was kind of one of the detriments to conceding 6 more goals. But again, 6 more goals, that's fine. The front line was, I think, where really the problem starts. 16 less goals scored is crazy, and I think that's kind of where our issue lies. We had no attacking creativity because our only line of attack was Sebastian Driussi. That leads basically directly into my next topic, which is what I think we can do to move forward. Again, this is kind of before hearing all the news of whose contracts were picked up and whose weren't. So this is sort of accurate still, but it's just very simple and what I think is the best way to move forward with this squad in 2024. The signings that we should do, I think there's about 4 main. I'm not going to give specific names for all these or suggestions. I'm just going to say what I think we should look for as a player type in certain positions. So I think we should do an attacking midfielder, a winger or a fullback, a defensive midfielder, and a center back. I know you're hearing attacking midfielder, and we'll start there. Seba, Driussi's already in that spot. We don't need that. I have said this before. I've preached this before. I think this might have been one of the takes that got me labeled as Mr. Hot Take. I think Seba should play on the left wing. I think Seba should play on the left wing. I think Emi should play up top. And I think we need to get a new attacking midfielder. I think pushing Seba on the wing is going to let him kind of combine into that midfield like he's been doing from that attacking midfield spot, but not going to sacrifice the link up between the midfield and the attack that caused issues with him dropping into midfield. That makes sense up here. I hope I'm explaining that properly, but pushing him on the wings and let him kind of feed in, kind of like Diego did on the right, or even on the left as well, is kind of feeding into that midfield, creating a midfield 4 effectively, or really midfield 4 with the 2 defensive midfielders with Ring and hopefully Danny, and then the right and left midfielders kind of being there, the attacking midfielder above them, and then again whoever we pick a striker, currently Zardes, up above that. So kind of helping that move there. So I think him on the wing, allowing him to cut inside as well. This attacking midfielder should be somebody that also can play on the wing, that can kind of invert and switch with him, kind of like Emi and Seba did last year. Again, Emi, I don't think necessarily is the wrong person for this. I don't think the price tag that we have him under is the right for what he's doing for the team. I think if you bring him off a DP status, I don't think he's that bad of a player. Again, shoot me. Moving on to the next spot is a winger or fullback, which actually we have done in Adair O'Brien. I'm going to say both. I'm going to give him 4 names effectively until I hear his name said out loud. I think it's somebody that should either replace Ethan Finlay and have the ability for Ethan Finlay to fill the spot off the bench if we need to, or pick up a fullback that lets John Gallagher go back to his natural winger position. One of my suggestions for that one was Cheik Toure from Austin FC 2 as a fullback option to put John Gallagher up the field. I've heard that there are some type of news or something coming out about Sheik Toure in the next few weeks, few months, something like that, probably in the next few weeks about that. So we might be getting a winger in Obrian in addition to Sheik Toure, maybe pushing John Gallagher on the other side as a winger, and Lundqvist, or not Lundqvist, Zan Kolmanach coming back on the right, or on the left, Galley on the left wing, we're going up top, Seba in between, maybe something like that. This one, I think, has definitely been exaggerated with the Danny Pereira news, a defensive midfielder. I think we need somebody as a defensive midfielder to pair with Alex Ring. It could be Valencia if Valencia steps up and kind of proves, as he did before at the very end of the season. I think that Valencia would slot into this role very nicely. Just somebody that's a little bit more able to have the ball at their feet, like Danny. Somebody that's more confident on the ball. I don't think Valencia, at least for a majority of last season, was super confident on the ball. But if we get the in-season Valencia, that's fine with me. My last one was a center back. Now, this is kind of something that I want to fill for depth rather than somebody to replace a current center back. Because I think that Cascante and Leo are enough at center back, in addition with Matt Hedges sliding in there if we need rotation. I think those three are good to fill the starting two roles. But somebody that can kind of be there in case one of them goes down with an injury. Suggestions that I had there was Mazzaferro and Joe Hafferty from Austin FC 2, kind of filling that same role that Kip Keller did, where his name was available for the first team, but mainly played second team minutes, but then didn't play second team minutes. Sorry, I feel bad for Kip Keller. He kind of got thrown into a poor situation, and I hope he does very, very well in FC Cincinnati. I'm not going to hold anything against him like I did his other St. Louis brother. Again, let's not think about that one. I think Mazza or Half would be good to fill that role of depth. I think that maybe even fullback depth for one of them. I don't know. I think bringing up a couple of the Austin FC 2 players is going to be key. Something else that I didn't even have notes down is the weird US Open rule that the MLS just came out with a day or two ago when filming this, that the next pro teams are going to fight or for the US Open Cup. The MLS is doing some weird shit right now, and I'm not a huge fan of it. But that kind of leads us to the very end of the video where I tell you guys Austin FC watch along streams with the weird rules that the MLS has included and changed. Absolutely nothing is going to change with the Austin FC watch alongs. I will be here almost every week. I always make a commitment to expect about 5 missed games. I'm going to go to a few, and then also, family trips and all that kind of stuff. Going to see family, all that kind of stuff comes up. So I expect to miss about 5 games every year. But about 26 games, 27 games will be streamed here on the channel. So if you are excited for that, hit that subscription button, hit the bell to be notified whenever I do go live or post other videos. And let me know down below. Let's have a conversation about what you think is my hottest take from this video. I'm always down to have a conversation. I don't claim to know everything. I claim to be knowledgeable, but not know everything. So I'm excited to kind of hear what you guys think about this list of suggestions, I'll say, and what you guys strongly disagree with. But until then, I'm probably going to post more videos before the MLS season kicks off, but I will definitely see you guys for the Austin FC watch alongs once the season does pick back up in 2024. But until then, I'll catch you later.